listening to Bearcat Insider with everybody's favorite assistant coach, Travis Marsh, and I'm Chance Kirby. Now to the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to Bearcat Insider. This is Coach Marsh, and I'm here with Pilot Point's favorite son, Chance Kirby, and you're listening to Season 2, Episode 1 of Bearcat Insider.
Yay, we made it.
We did. So we started last season with a preview show of kind of the whole season based off of Texas football, Dave Campbell's magazine release, and so we're going to start off again there this year, and we're just going to kind of dive right in.
Let's do it. Got my swimming trunks on.
Yeah, you're ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, well, good deal.
We'll do the triple ending like Rodney Danger. That's probably way before your time. You don't even know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Like whenever you talk to me about Prince,
yes,
I'm kind of...
I know. Forget it.
Now, whenever we... before we get started with the Dave Campbell preview and all that, the first thing I want to let our viewers know is that just like last year, the UIL has agreed for a live broadcast, which we will be bringing to everyone's living rooms, back porches, phones, whatever they choose to view it on YouTube.
Block party.
Yeah. So we're going to do that, and we are promising audio, and we're going to attempt video every week.
Yeah, and to clarify why we're promising audio and can't guarantee that we deliver it, the UIL took a half a step, but not a full step. The UIL said, yes, you can do it if everybody agrees. Mm-hmm. So we can't look at you and say, yeah, we're going to webcast the whole season, because a random school, let's say Paradise, could say they don't want us to video, and then we don't have that option.
Yeah, and then audio is it is
what it is. We'll have that.
Yeah, we'll have that for sure. So we will have, and for the most part, video won't be a problem until the playoffs, and then we run into some issues
Which goes straight audio like last year.
Yep. And so so we're good to go with that. And then this is season 2 of the podcast, which means we've reset our sponsors, and so some of our sponsors have re-upped, some of them haven't, but we're going to have that kind of going on, and so sponsorship opportunities are available. If you're interested in a podcast, just reach out to us, and you can join the team and be on this weekly broadcast once football season starts. We're every week. And
then backing up for the webcast, we're still taking advertisers for that, and I think that's the best deal going. I've bought a lot of bad ads in my business for 30 years, and we definitely over-deliver, because I don't want someone to ever say, man, we just didn't feel like we got our money's worth. Well, right at 30,000 views for last year, and that's evergreen. You paid for that ad last year. That's still running on YouTube right now.
In 10 years, people will still hear about businesses that might have already closed.
All you got to do is stay open.
Yes. If you stay open, we will continue to market for you.
We will keep pushing you, and that average cost will go down. Yep. And then there's some other things we did last year, and we're going to do this year, that you're going to see your name on, that you're going to be like, I don't remember paying for that. It's because you didn't. We just gave it to you.
Yeah. And then the kind of the last thing on the business end is you have diligently put in a whole lot of work on a over 100-page media guide that will go out to all the major news outlets, and then as well it will be available online electronically to everybody for free.
In some fashion.
In some way. We have a lot of options. We're kind of looking at different avenues, but it will be available. And a lot of good information, a lot of good historical information. But the best thing about it is it's accurate information, because all the game results have been verified by box scores and newspaper articles that you spend a lot of time looking up. And
I've read a lot of old papers,
and so that's really neat. And for the people that have caught a glimpse of it, it's impressive. Whenever you sent me kind of the last little mock-up that's already changed since the last time you sent it to me, there's a lot of really good information, a lot of fun stuff. And for those that aren't aware, if you go to a college program or you go to a college website, there will be a drop-down menu where you can go to publications or media, and then you can have a media guide, and it gives all of this crazy, insane information about this college football program that you thought you never cared about until you start reading it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it gets really, really interesting.
Which is why pages keep getting added to this. I'm waiting. August 7th?
August 7th is media day.
That's what I'm told is the time I'm going to get height, weight, and who's on varsity.
Yep.
So once I get that
headshots will be that day.
Yeah, so once I get that roster, give me a day and a half, and then we'll release the media guide. And that's why pages, get back to that, that's why I keep adding pages, because as more time passes, I think of something else we should throw in there.
Yeah, and that's probably going to continually happen for a while.
Yeah, and it's not me. You said me, but I recall 2 years ago you actually made the first draft, and you're like, we should do this sometime.
Yeah. It's been a collaborative project.
Yeah, and then as I think you do with most, almost cussed, as most stuff that you come up with, you know, if you plan it in my head and just walk away, that then I will obsess about it and figure out a way.
Well, you know, that's just kind of the way it works.
Exactly.
And then on top of the media guide that will go out at the beginning of the year, we're going to do a weekly update that will have the previous week's game result.
2021 statistics.
The statistics, updated statistics, as well as a preview of the game that's on the coming Friday.
Yeah, so it's a media guide supplement. We're actually calling it Bearcat Insider.
Yeah.
Just like this is called.
Yeah, and so they'll get a little bit of a look into, you know, peeping in the window for the other team, kind of see what's going on there, what they need to kind of watch for, and just a general rough overview. It's not going to be anything, you know, that's going to give away any trade secrets, or it's going to be a lot of coach speak.
Yeah.
But that's okay. So we really look forward to bringing that to people. And, you know, we'll just kind of see where it goes, like almost everything else we do.
Yeah, if it works, great. We'll keep doing it. And if it doesn't, it'll disappear like other things we've done.
Well, since we don't have any official podcast advertisers right now, we're not going to take a commercial break.
Okay.
Before we jump into the Whataburger Super Team. But I am going to recognize a past sponsor because she still gives me great haircuts. And that's Gretchen up at Southern Junkies in her salon and everything they have going up there. And we really appreciate her. And
is this one of those great haircuts?
This is one of those great haircuts.
Man, it is great.
It is.
Yeah.
I think it looks good.
I'm really looking forward. She's going to cut my son's hair, hopefully sooner than later.
It'll probably be about August 2nd.
I'm all dependent on you guys for that.
Yes, it's coming.
Yeah.
But, no, big thank you to Gretchen. Always a great supporter of the Bearcats and always supportive of us and what we do. And so, shout out to her. That
location, just going through old papers and putting together that media guide, that location has been a hardcore supporter of the Bearcats forever.
Yes, ever since I can remember.
Yeah. I mean, that's Bearcat Central.
Well, I mean, you have to think about the name that has been on it.
Exactly.
I mean, Mr. Bearcat, Greg Pelzel.
Yes. The center of Bearcat Mount Rushmore, if you ask him.
Or maybe the son of the Bearcat universe.
Yeah.
Everything just kind of revolves around Greg.
Absolutely.
Just ask him.
Yeah. Talk to him today.
I'm sorry. Now, moving on to the podcast here, the Whataburger Super Team. Okay, we have a representative on the Super Team, Ish Harris. He makes it as a third team. They have him listed as utility, which I'm going to treat as athlete. And so that's exciting.
Yeah, this is, I don't think we've ever had one before. And when I find time, I'll confirm that. But I think he's the first. I don't know how long they've been doing the Whataburger Super Team, but...
You know, it's exciting.
It is. It creates buzz.
It creates buzz. It kind of creates a landmark for us. You know, it's something that we can look to. It's something that is exciting to say because the Whataburger Super Team isn't a 3A deal.
No, it's statewide.
It's statewide.
There's
and
some big names on that list, including Ish's name.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, looking at just the third teamers, he has nothing to hang his head about some of those names that he's on there.
Yeah, and from what I understand, there's a final season one too.
Yes.
So I mean, he can rise up.
He has room to improve.
Yeah, and you know this is going to go on all year, and I think Ish understands it. You talk to him a whole lot more than I do. The things that he's doing, accomplishing for himself are fantastic, but the ripple effect of what he is drawing attention to his teammates and the community is huge.
Oh, absolutely. It's immeasurable.
Yes.
Well, it actually is very measurable by impressions on Twitter.
Yes.
And if you tag Ish in something, the number of impressions that you get goes exponentially up.
Yeah, and I want to, from following his Twitter and us doing a lot of social media that involves him, I think he's being a great teammate so far this year. He retweets a lot of his teammates' accomplishments and going to camps, and he's really paying it forward.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's a good steward of the program in that sense.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to be.
No.
I mean, yeah, it's a credit to him.
Yeah. But that's kind of what we've come to expect from Ish.
Yeah.
Now, the Whataburger Super Team's kind of its own little deal. So the way we're going to move through this is we're going to start with just kind of a general 3A look, and then we're going to look at our region a little bit more closely. And then we're going to look at our district team by team, and then we're going to talk about us. And so when you go to page 305 in your wonderful Dave Campbell's, for those following along at home, you get to the Class 3A rankings. Okay? And so they have us starting as number 9.
What are your thoughts?
Whenever it didn't really move the needle. I guess I was excited because it's recognition for the program, but I do like flying under the radar. And
but you didn't. I guess what I'm getting at, you didn't look at it and say, "Man, we got hosed," and you didn't look at it and laugh and say, "Are you kidding me?"
No,
it's just.
I mean, I think it's fair.
It fell where it should have.
Yeah, I think it's mostly fair. I think they could have put us anywhere.
5 to 15.
Yeah, I was about to say 6 to 15 is kind of the range that I thought would be where we belong, with 2 14-game seasons back to back, losing to an eventual state champion. I think 9's fine. I'm fine with it.
Does it create any undue pressure or headache when you have a single digit in front of your name when it's in the paper every week? Do the kids react differently? Do your opponents react differently? I would think just that comes with being Pilot Point.
I was about to say, when you're the Pilot Point Bearcats, you typically get everybody's best game.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to knock us off, and it's been that way for decades now. And so I think it's the expectation now. And that's great. But, it didn't blow me away. And if you look at the statewide rankings, of course, Jim Ned's starting number 1. That's earned.
Yeah, I agree.
They didn't lose much as far as production. Of course, they lose people, but as far as just statistical production, they didn't lose much. Brock's coming in at number 2 from our district.
No complaints there either.
No, traditional power. Of course, they lost a GoDaddy in Cash Jones, but they're Brock. I'm sure that there's somebody lined up to take his spot and to take those carries, and I can't imagine them being the same player that Cash was, but I imagine they're going to be just fine. And then we'll get into that later whenever we talk about our district as far as the new coaching staff at Brock.
Tell those out there that don't know, how do they compile this data? We discussed it last year, but hopefully we have twice as many listeners.
We get an email from Texas football.
When does that come out?
Usually it's early spring. And so on that, we list our information, just the data. This is what district we're in. This is our enrollment. This is that. These are how many starters are coming back. And then they ask us questions, rank your district, how you think it's going to finish. Rank the top 5 teams in your region. Rank the top 5 teams in the state based off of your opinion. And then they compile all of those surveys, and then that's how they get this.
Okay. So,
as far as the players go, the players to watch, or who's going to be the MVP, preseason, this and that, that's out of our hands. They do that. That's their deal. And then the little spill that they put in there, that's their creation. I wish I got to ride ours. I'd talk about the awesome offensive assistant coach who's going to make the biggest difference ever. But they don't ask me. They do it and put it in there. So, it's just how it is.
I think we've just learned why.
Yeah, exactly. You look at the rankings and there's nothing that really jumps out, as far as overall state rankings. And then you take that and you look at our region. In the top 25, our region comes in 1, 2, 9, and 16.
Which everyone said we had a terrible region last year. If you just look at the top 10, we have a third of it.
Yeah. And
there's only 4 regions.
I think when you look at our region, what you get is a top-heavy region.
Yeah.
The heavy hitters are heavy hitters. I mean, they're somebody out of our region can win state every year. I mean, no crap. Somebody has to go to the semifinals, but no, somebody really is a factor. One of the best teams in the state of Texas will come out of our region. Between us, between Brock, between Jim Ned, and all the other schools, somebody's going to be good, and somebody's going to be real good. But and not to pick on Shallow Water, but I'll use them as an example because they came into our game last year in the playoffs hot. They were ranked
third.
They were ranked third. But you look at their scores and you say, "Oh man, they beat this team 77-0," and then you think, "Man, are they that good, or is the other team that bad?" And so I think whenever you get to our region, the problem comes in depth, which we don't have to really worry about because our district is a stinking good district to be in. We have 6 playoff teams in this district.
And
in 4 spots.
We threw together pretty good non-district schedule too.
Yeah,
no slouch there either.
No, through 10 games, we're going to be battle tested.
Yeah,
that's a fact. With just the way you look at it, with Plainview, Oklahoma has some fantastic players and it's a good program, and we have to go to Plainview. Fort Worth All Saints, they have a receiver who's already getting Division I offers. They had 2 5-star offensive linemen that both went to Alabama last year. And so they have a little bit of tradition going on there, and they're going to be a good football team. And then, the Gunner Tigers, they're ranked number 2 in their division. No shortage of athletes in Gunner.
No.
And so our 3 games going into district are as hard of a pre-district schedule as we could probably put together. For those following along, if you turn over to page 307, it has the need to know about Class 3A. And so out of our district, what you need to know is that they think that Nathan Jones at Brock is preseason All-State tight end.
I can't argue that.
When you're 6'6", 240, and you can run a little bit, and he was All-State last year, so it's not like they're going out on a limb. And then the other things that you'll be familiar with if you look at that list and you look over at the Offensive Player of the Year is it's very Jim Ned heavy, and it's very Xavier Wishart 3A cover boy heavy.
We did make that photo, but if you really have to look hard to even know that that's us, which is good.
That's Eddie. Eddie Gatton.
But I'm just saying, I like that our helmet's cut off, and you really have to stare hard to figure out who that is.
Yeah, but in anybody that watched our game or was in attendance of the Jim Ned game, you know why the Wishart kid is all over everything, because he's a stud.
Yeah.
And so they have us losing in the same spot to the same team as we did last year. They have us losing game 14, Jim Ned over Pilot Point for Region 1.
They had us losing that game last year too.
Yeah. So I mean I want to win it this next time, but I'm okay playing 14 games again.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'd like to win it, but
14 with the shot at 15, nothing wrong with that.
No, 52 games in 3 years. That's not bad at all. And so, that's exciting. And it's exciting that I think our kids are getting the recognition that they deserve.
Could you work on that 52 and 3? Wouldn't that be 42?
Yeah. But math's never my strong suit.
Okay. Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to bog us down, and it's terrible that I caught
the fact
that.
that you corrected it is I'm ashamed of myself.
Okay.
But yes.
I'm not cutting it out.
14 plus 14 plus 14 is 42.
Okay. But hey, playing 52 games in 3 years would be awesome.
And impossible.
But awesome.
But we'd be the traveling team.
Yeah.
So, that's just kind of a big overall look at at the region, at the state. And then let's go ahead and dive right in to our district.
Let's do it.
And the opinions that are about to be expressed are the opinions of Dave Campbell's Texas football. I didn't pick the finish. This is what they did. So anybody from another town who wants to get upset about where they picked,
Don't take it out on
Don't take it out on
Insider.
Bearcat Insider. I'm just reading the magazine.
Yeah.
So when you look at preseason and offensive MVP, it's a gentleman by the name of Cutter Wilson from Brock. And we're normally used to seeing Cash Jones in that slot right there. Cutter Wilson is going to be Cash Jones's replacement, and I promise you the kid is going to be just fine because as a backup last year, he rushed for 1,500 yards and 20 touchdowns.
I don't remember him. That's not a slight against him. I mean, it's hard to be noticed when you're behind Cash, but I'm with you. I think he's going to be all right.
He's
He's
going to
from
be
Brock.
fine. He's
Come
from
on.
Brock. And so defensive MVP, preseason defensive MVP is Ish Harris of Pilot Point. Okay.
Confuses me, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm 5 interceptions, 44 tackles, just signed with A&M as a linebacker.
it confuses me still.
Yeah, I don't know. Sure.
I want to talk to you when we get to Pilot Point. I want to dive into that.
Well, just
Linebacker
let's
discussion.
do it now.
Okay, Coach. But you just said all these opinions. Now we're gonna go.
Yeah, now we're. This is my opinion now.
Yeah. So let's say, because I know they're out there, average Joe fan walking around Pilot Point right now is like saying that he just doesn't understand these coaches because Ish is getting all these nationwide recruiting opportunities to play linebacker, and those goofballs up there in the field house never even have let him play linebacker. They just don't know what they're doing. How do you respond to that, Coach?
Well, I think the biggest thing that people have to understand is that it's our job to look out for the Pilot Point Bearcats. It's not our job to necessarily put Ish in the same position that he's going to go play at A&M.
Yeah, but I don't think that some people look at it. They think if Jimbo says he's a linebacker, then Travis should say he's a linebacker.
Well, and what Jimbo has is a state-of-the-art weight room with top-notch staff that is going to transform Ish over the next year after he gets there. Ish is going to be going to a state-of-the-art cafeteria that is going to be on a specific meal plan that's going to grow him from the 205 that he is now to about 240. And while he's putting on 35 pounds, he's going to get bigger, faster, stronger. And he's going to be physically prepared to be playing linebacker. That's just not resources that we have. The other part of that is Ish is a really good corner for us.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If we take him from corner and put him at linebacker, who plays corner? Because we don't have another Ish just to say, oh, Ish 2.0, you go play corner. Let's just get our other 6'3", 200-pound athlete to go play corner now.
I think that's the story of 3A. You've only got so much peanut butter to spread on the bread, and
eventually it gets thin.
It's going to be thin somewhere.
Yeah. And so we have to put Ish in the position that he's going to be the most beneficial for us.
For Pilot Point.
For this team. And so that's part of that's just part of the pieces of the puzzle is understanding, and maybe we can move him to linebacker if somebody will pick it up at corner, or maybe he has to stay at corner, or maybe he's
because someone picks it up at linebacker.
Who knows? But it's our job to figure out the best 11 that help the Bearcats win the most games that we can win. And in doing so, you hope to take care of the kid and hope that they get noticed. And, and with Ish, it's already happened, so we don't really have to worry about that. But, we have to try to win games here because it's not just about that. If we go 0-10, but we put a bunch of kids in college, we'll still get run out of town. I mean, it's just the way it is. You got to win. So
try to do both.
It's really helpful if you can do both.
Yeah.
Which we've done a very good job with doing that. Putting kids out to college and also winning a whole bunch of football games. So it's been a good mixture so far. But, we just have to keep taking care of the Bearcats, and we'll let the Aggies take care of the Aggies, and everybody's a winner. All right, so now we're back to Dave Campbell's opinions.
Okay.
Not ours.
Turn Travis's
Yes, I'm off.
bright in the light. Take your signature off the bottom of the screen.
Yes. All right, so the predicted finish in the district, which this doesn't always make sense to me how this works.
Well, I know how it works. They sent out a thing in late or early spring, and then all the coaches filled it out and then sent it in.
No, I'm saying I don't know how it works, as in they pick Brock to beat us in district and then us to make it further than them in the same playoffs.
You know what I think it is?
Jim Ned, where they line up to play them.
Wow, that would have required a lot of research, but that's possible.
No, it would,
What I
because
was
if they win the district, they play them third round, then we would play them fourth round.
maybe.
So that
I
means
was just thinking they take all those surveys and put a lot more weight into that in the district, but then after that they
opinionate.
put their own thoughts on
Yeah,
it.
no, they could.
Yeah.
So they have Brock as the winner, Pilot Point finishing second, Whitesboro finishing third, Boyd finishing fourth, Paradise finishing fifth, Bowie finishing sixth, Peaster finishing seventh. That's the only one I will disagree with.
I'm just thrilled they
And
made the
then-
magazine that
It's
time,
true.
and Dave Campbells didn't
It's
do it
true.
wrong.
Welcome to Texas football, Peaster. You officially exist this year.
Yeah.
And then Ponder bringing up the rear in eighth.
I'm with you. I do think Peaster's the most interesting wild card of the whole.
So I think there is a, I don't want to say Mason-Dixon line.
Okay. Yeah, that's not timely.
It's not a good one.
Yeah.
I think there is a, I think there's like a North Korea, South Korea DMZ line. There's
Okay.
the 38th parallel.
Yes.
I think there's a 38th parallel in our district. And I think it's the top five. So that would be, according to here, Brock, Pilot Point, Whitesboro, Boyd, Paradise. And then I think the other three, Bowie, Peaster, and Ponder, I think there's a little bit of a separation there. Just
Okay.
with the way that my 2 years in this district has gone. Now, that doesn't mean that...
Well, we talked before, and you've told me that you can't judge a team off 1 year. And when we had that talk, you said you really can't even do it off 2 years. You need to do 3.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that Bowie, Peaster, Ponder can't come out this year and exceed what I've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, they can.
A lot of new coaches in our district, too.
We'll talk about it with Bowie, especially, who we'll talk about, first, because we're going to go through it alphabetically. Well, let's just start with Bowie, since we're going to talk about him next anyway. Bowie finished 4-6, 2-5 in district. I think they're kind of on the rise, and it goes back to my new favorite Bowie Jackrabbit, Mr. Colton Price, number 72. And
He's an animal.
he has to be, because he is verbally committed to Baylor.
Enjoy the whack.
No, Baylor's now probably the Big 12 leader. I
For
think
what that's worth.
I think we can win it. I think I really think Iowa State will give us all we want for the title. With the 8-team Big 12 now.
Go back to the original name, just the Big 8.
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
But no, in all joking aside, Baylor really did offer him, and he really did verbal, which means that if you've ever watched Bowie football the past few years, you would laugh if somebody told you, there's a guy that's going to a Power 5 school in Bowie, America, and people would laugh at you because they'd be like, "Are you serious?" No, and Colton Price is an absolute beast.
Yeah, and one more, I'll give a nod to Baylor real quick. I do like that they check the small schools. They got the kid from Wall last year. I mean, they're hitting those hard. But no, Colton he was impressive last year. The problem is he ran out of gas.
Yes.
He was doing everything and so much of everything that no one can maintain the tear he was on.
No, and in the pregame, I try to give people one person from the other team to watch. That way, to the casual fan, they can say, "Hey, man, mate, you watch number 72 tonight."
Just another reason to listen to our pregame
You're
show.
going to be blown away.
Yeah.
Well, I sold Colton Price hard.
Yeah.
I feel like I undersold him after watching him the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, he was unblockable. And we were trying to block him with 3 people. And he was just swatting us around like gnats. I kind of felt like King Kong, when he's up on the tower in the old one and he's swinging at those little biplanes. And, yes, and they just go flying.
Yeah.
I felt like that was Colton Price, and, our linemen were the little planes.
Yeah.
He was an animal. And if you look at his Twitter, he's more of an animal now. I feel like he's squatting a house.
I can't keep up with our Twitter. I depend on you for all Twitter stalking.
Yes. No, Colton Price is still the man. So we're going to have our hands full again. But when you have a player like that, typically what that will do is raise the average of the program, because now all the other guys are looking at him and they're like, oh, man, I want to jump on that bandwagon and I want to work hard in the weight room. And, and it can kind of be a rallying cry for that program. So I really, of those 3 programs that I said were below the 38th parallel, I really think Bowie is primed to make the jump.
Well, I don't want to create fighting words or bulletin board material, but am I hearing that he would be the one to actually get your vote for Defensive Player of the Year?
Yes. I mean, I'd say that hands down.
Yeah.
The only other defensive player that I saw last year that I was just so blown away by was
And Ish, as you're punching the steering wheel listening to this, you can't vote for your own team. So
Yes, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't vote for Ish.
Yeah.
Was the Dillingham safety from Brock who's graduated.
Yeah.
But he was unreal. In Colton Price, I had him kind of in that same range. It gets over. It's not as cool to be a defensive tackle as it is to be a free safety.
Yeah.
But Colton Price is the man. So I think Bowie, I expect them to really kind of build on the back of Colton Price and have a good year.
Yeah, didn't they improved?
They either went from 0-10 or 1-9 to 4-6.
Yeah.
Which that's a jump.
Yeah.
And they won 2 district ball games. I don't know who off the top of my head, but it's impressive. They're moving the right way, and they have a bunch of kids coming back. So I think they're a game that you can't just say, oh, this is Bowie. 2 years ago we beat them by 72 points, and last year we beat them by 38 points. I don't see it as that. I think you got to come to play. Now, alphabetically next is the Boyd Yellowjackets, new head coach in town, Ian Ritchie. He's coming over from Decatur, where he's the defensive coordinator, but he's a Boyd guy. He's following a Boyd guy.
See, I like that.
I mean, I think it has its perks.
From somebody that's a lifer, I want to hire somebody that you feel like is most likely to stay, and you're not a stepping stone for someone to move up the ranks. And it may not be true because you're on the other side of the table. You're an actual coach. I feel like if you hire a guy that's from that town, he most likely he will be interested in staying.
Personally speaking, this Pilot Point job means more to me than any other coaching job I've ever had. And this is the least amount of responsibilities that I've ever had.
Okay, so you're supporting my theory?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in agreement that this job means more to me, and I'm less important here than I've been at every other job that I've ever had.
Yeah.
But it means a lot because
you're the most important coach to Bearcat Insider, though.
Thank you
if
for that.
Means anything.
Man, the warm and fuzzies. No, but it does. It means more to put on a Pilot Point game day shirt and to go to work at Massey Stadium.
And I think there's a whole thing there that only people that grew up there can understand. I mean, and we're talking about Boyd, but it would also be true for here. The parents of the kids that you're coaching were your teammates.
Yeah.
They most likely subscribe to your philosophy and grew up with your philosophy.
Right.
It's easier to sell that program to those kids. And it doesn't always work. I know that. It doesn't mean just go hire somebody from your high school and that means you're going to win. But all things being equal, and I don't care what town I'm in, and I've got a graduate and a non-graduate, I'm leaning towards the hometown guy every time.
Sure. And as long as are you really going to want to hire an Aubrey Chaparral to be your head coach at Aubrey?
There's some out there, I'm sure.
I mean, what? They went 1-9, and they're going to now lead you to the promised land.
I was on a hiring committee once for a coach here, and there was a hometown guy that applied. I was for him. We didn't hire him, though.
Yeah.
We hired your coach.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I hired Coach Baca.
He brought his son.
Yeah, got the semifinals.
Got the semifinals, and so thank you, Brad.
You're welcome.
Yeah. But I think you have to have a little bit of caution with that philosophy because of that. Just because they graduated, they do have to have the skins on the wall that support their hire.
Yeah.
So there's that. But talking about Boyd, let's not get too wrapped up in Ian Ritchie.
We'll bog down.
Oh, it'll happen. They are returning one of the most exciting, oddly used players in the district.
He's a stud.
And that's their quarterback, Rendon Lamance.
I don't think he threw enough, in my opinion. It's almost like he didn't, and I'm only judging from playing Pilot Point. I didn't watch any game film. I depend on you for that. But when he played us, maybe it was something we were doing. But it seemed like passing wasn't the first option or the second.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive scheme didn't lend itself to maximize on his potential.
But when you got that guy, you have to
find creative ways to use him.
Yeah. Go global on NCAA football.
Seriously, and watch how what they should have done is watched how colleges use a true dual threat quarterback.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And so, but he's back. And he's going to be a problem because he's good.
Yeah.
And I think that the staff over there realizes that they kind of have a gem, and they're going to try to find ways to use him.
Yeah.
And so, that's if you're a Boyd Yellowjacket fan, that's exciting. If you're a Pilot Point Bearcat fan, you already know that game typically brings out the absolute worst in both crowds. And so that circle it again on the calendar.
And we have to go over there.
And we have to go to Boyd. So, nice stadium. I like it.
I guess. I got blinders when I go to some places.
Man, you gotta start paying attention to your surroundings.
No, I'm paying attention. I'm just I can't. It's Boyd. I don't want to be there. I want to play and get out.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to look around and be like, man,
I can understand that.
This is great.
It's Wise County.
Yeah, it's better than Paradise.
We'll get there in a minute. Now, alphabetically next, we have Brock. Picked to win the district. Shocker.
Another new coach.
Another new coach came over from Weatherford. Name's Billy Mathis. Have no idea what to expect from him, except I know it's going to be different than the staff that left, because that staff that left was I'll say a special staff.
The results they had.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with that they're special with what they were able to do. And I think what they made Brock is not a rebuild place; it's a reload place. One class graduates, the next class comes in, and boom, we're rocking and rolling. Let's go win a state championship again.
And we had that instance here when Jerry came in and Coach Moore left.
Yeah.
It was a guy just grabbing the wheel and then just keep throttle down and keep going.
Yeah. I hope Brock doesn't experience that same level of success.
Yes, I get what you're saying.
I hope that Chad Worrell hands the keys off to Billy Mathis, and there's like a quarter of a tank left, and there's no gas station in sight.
Yeah, and a wobbly front wheel.
Yes, and somebody put a potato in the muffler, and I mean, that's what I hope, but that's not the case. They're good. They're going to be good again. Scheme-wise, there's going to be a change. Who knows what it's going to be? I suspect they're going to throw the ball more. That's the word that's out there. Is getting a little bit more opened up than what they have been under Chad. Defensively, I'm sure it'll change because no Chad.
Moving winning aside, which is a big component, I would think that coaching Chad's offense isn't fun. You want to spice it up with more things. I'm just saying I think it would be difficult to come in there and want to keep doing that.
They wouldn't be able to, because what Cody ran is old, and it's old-fashioned, and it's probably wordy, just like it was in Collinsville. And it is, if you understand it, it is the most fun offense in the world to coach and call, because you can do anything you want to do at any time that you want to do it, and it's a fun offense. But I don't think that the next guy could coach it the way that it is supposed to be coached.
Well, and I think it's a risky proposition. You're truly betting your career on it if you want to go in there and throw out what you know.
Yeah.
And then
pick up somebody else's.
Try to figure out, yeah.
And there's so many little things in every offense. In every offensive coordinator has their own little wrinkle, their own little spin, everything like that. But we're going to have our hands full with Brock. Nathan Jones, the tight end that we talked about, he's a big old tight end.
I'm sure he's looking forward to the ball being thrown more.
And I'm sure we better be ready to tackle him. We've talked about Cutter Wilson stepping in for Cash Jones. I'm just excited to not read Cash Jones.
Yes.
And they're going to be fine. They're going to have plenty of good players, and they're going to be plenty productive, and we're going to have to play our A game if we're going to beat them.
There was a discussion in the Bearcat Insider media corporate headquarters about sending Cash a graduation card and wishing him the best.
I would have walked him across the stage.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yes.
Go far away.
Thank you for your service.
Yes. It was really cool to watch you.
Yeah.
So glad you're gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing about it, that they're not going to have much of a fall off unless you listen to Matt Stepp.
Man, he crossed the line.
Yeah, thanks Matt for gearing them up for 2021.
Yeah, everybody. I'm going to check while you tell that story. I'm going to check Twitter and see if that's still pinned to the top of their Twitter.
I bet you it is, but if some people actually have a life and don't follow Twitter like we do, Matt Stepp said that Brock was poised to take a step back this year, and you would have thought that he had dropped a nuclear bomb on Brock, because the amount of pushback that he got from everyone was unreal.
It is still pinned to the top of Brock Football's Twitter.
Yes.
From June 19th.
Okay.
Matt said, I'm going to say it now. I've got some concerns about Brock. They'll still be good, but I think this team could take a step back. And then Brock pinned it to the top and said, we needed a tweet to pin. Thanks.
Thanks, Matt. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, and they might.
But we're not saying that.
No. And here's the reason why I'm going to say that they might.
Because they set the bar so high.
They are a factor to win state in every sport.
Yes. I think they won the Lone Star Cup.
They had a coach that has an unreal track record of success at Brock. And he left. And this is not an indictment against Billy Mathis at all, because he is 0-0 at Brock. But the bar has been set almost impossibly high that it sucks for him. Because he could be a great coach, but if he loses 2 games in the regular season...
It's like the poor guy that follows Saban.
Yeah, and that's... when
you're standing way up here, it's a long way down.
And then they lost a generational 3A talent with Cash. So yeah, it's just one of those things that I don't think Stepp intended saying that Brock is falling off and they're not a factor anymore. I think it's just saying
they made them number 2 and stayed.
And people are mad.
They were number 1 last year, though.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I don't know, but I'm glad Brock can get upset about that. Yay, bulletin board material.
Yeah.
Now, alphabetically, moving on to the Paradise Panthers.
Speaking of bulletin boards.
Yeah. No, it's not media team bulletin board material.
Yeah, they're all over our bulletin board.
Yes, I'm never forget.
Yes.
Paradise is... Their offensive scheme is a problem.
They can run.
They
Meaning track.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about they have a running
I think
offense.
district champions in track. So, athletically, you look at their kids and they spend time in the weight room. They're a bunch of good-looking kids. They typically have big old linemen. They're going to be a problem. Coaches do a good job over there. They run like I said, they run a different scheme that's hard to prepare for. And they have the athletes that can do it. And so I think that I think they're poised to make the playoffs again. I know that Texas football has them predicted 5th, but I don't think that they're very far off.
I know you are getting into coach speak mode for the season already, but someone's going to have to lose when they play each other in this district. So far, everyone we're talking about is a threat.
And that's the
point.
And everyone is a threat.
Yeah.
The biggest problem that I think we have 6, possibly 7 teams, just depending on how teams progress. That could be a playoff team in this district, or definitely a playoff team in other districts.
Yeah. This
is the hardest 3A district in the state of Texas, I do believe.
Out of the run-through of our district that Jim Ned made last year, they beat 3 teams in our district. Yeah. Paradise gave them the heck of a fight.
And I think it was a 1-score game.
Yeah.
And it was a low-scoring game.
Yeah.
Paradise is a good football team.
Yeah.
And they will continue to be a good football team. So, they don't have the quote-unquote star power that some of these other teams have. They just have a bunch of kids that can play ball and are good at it, and they're well coached, and it's solid schemes, and they're handful.
I think the stars are there, too. Probably just people just don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that's it. And you get, who covers them? Probably Wise County.
Shout out to Richard Green. Yeah, Wise County Messenger.
And Wise County, there's a bunch of football teams to cover there.
Yeah, and if you're
Decatur's going to get the pub
and
because
Decatur is good or has been.
Well, and if you can't cover the football team, you can cover the school board.
Yeah. Yes.
they give you plenty to cover.
8-hour meetings.
Yeah. But I think that's what you run into with Paradise is they're not going to generate enough publicity. We have articles coming out like crazy in the Post Signal, in the Record Chronicle, in Dallas Morning News.
I wonder what's on ParadisePanthers.com.
Oh, I can tell you.
Okay.
You should go visit www.paradisepanthers.com.
All right, I will do that.
But we get a lot of publicity, and I will say hats off to Bearcat Media. When you put out good quality content, you put out content often, it starts generating a little bit of buzz.
Well, and it makes it easier. Everyone, all of us, the world likes little effort and little resistance as possible. When you package up something nice and neat, and then a reporter or someone only has to hit retweet, it makes life a whole lot easier.
Oh, absolutely.
Just like the morning news thing, which we're going to get to later. You saw the pictures they used.
Yeah.
If those pictures aren't available, they don't have those pictures to lead their article with.
No, and I get texts from all kinds of media outlets.
Yeah.
A lot about, hey, we want to feature somebody. Who should we do? Hey, we want to do this about Ish. Hey, we need some pictures. Hey, we need.
But if that doesn't exist, that's it. All starts with making it available and being open to any media that wants to, which to go full circle goes back to that media guide. That's going to help.
Oh, exponentially.
Yeah, but anyway, back to Paradise and no one knowing.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Yeah,
they toil out there in the woods of Wise County.
Yeah,
and they're underappreciated as a football team,
which is why they can sneak up on you.
Exactly.
Like the kid last year in the second half that even snuck up on Paradise, and he's on their team.
Yeah,
all of a sudden he gets the ball.
He's the MVP.
He's like a water bug. I mean, he's everywhere.
Now, alphabetically, we are next. However, we are not going to talk about us until the very end.
Okay.
So we're going to switch to the Peaster Greyhounds. Peaster's another team that I think is dangerous. They have a coach's kid playing quarterback. His name's Gunnar McElroy. That's always scary to me because that guy probably lives, breathes, eats more football than any other kid on that roster. And that's scary when he's a trigger man, and he's talented to go with it. And he was young, and so he's coming back. They have a good running back that could be a problem. We bottled him up pretty good last year. But, he's a big, fast, strong kid. And, that was their first year to play football. And so they'll be better. They'll be better by experience. They'll be better by every metric. They'll be better next year. So I think it's scary.
We webcast the junior high game last year, and I'm just calling it now. There's a sleeper.
Yeah.
That 8th grade team, that kid was amazing.
That receiver that...
I think we may see him on varsity this year.
And if we do, that's good for the Bearcats.
Yeah.
Because if you're putting freshmen on varsity, and for one, if you're going to put a freshman on varsity, you should be starting them. Because if not, you're wasting developmental time. And then there's an old coaching adage that for every freshman you start, you lose one game.
I've never heard that.
Yeah. You start a freshman, you lose games. So that means if you're starting 10 freshmen, probably going to go defeated.
Defeated. It did make me think of something. You're referencing the coach's kid. You have a kid or two.
Yeah.
When do you start that to where being a coach's kid becomes a benefit to the kid to where you start ingraining all that in?
With Michael, he's going to be an 8th grader. He's probably watched more football than anybody in his class.
So it's already happened.
Yeah.
Just by osmosis.
Yeah, if you talk to him for 5 minutes about football, you'll all of a sudden start getting. It's like talking to a grown person about it. So it's already there just by immersion. He's grew up at the field house. So it, and some guys are way more hardcore about it than I am. I don't spoon feed it to them. I don't force them, anything like that. And so, it's a little different, but it's already happening.
That's good.
But with Peaster, we have to go to Peaster. We've never ever played a game in Peaster before, so it's going to be weird. If you look at their stadium is not. It's nothing unusual.
It's Greyhound Stadium.
It's Greyhound Stadium.
They have a good social media presence, by the way. But
they do.
sorry.
They do a good job on social media.
Yeah.
But they, it's just going to be a road trip. But it's far. That's scary.
Yeah.
It's
almost going to be a motel stay for Chance.
Yeah, it's out there. But it's what we got to do.
But kind of like I think they're in Parker County, like Brock. They're a winning program. They don't have to build the winning attitude and all of that. That's in that school.
Yeah. No, people have heard of Peaster.
Yeah.
They're just probably basketball fans.
Yeah.
But it's like Brock. That's how Brock started.
Yeah, I know. And
now Peaster didn't have the immediate success that Brock had, but they still have that same. There's a winning tradition already in that building.
Yeah.
And maybe Coach McElroy will tap into it and figure it out. I hope not.
Yeah.
But moving on to Ponder Lions. This is new head coach Kyle Cooper.
Which they're the ones that are the most confusing to me. They're the unknown. This will be the 3rd offense in 3 years.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like I'm sure there's some coach's analogy you can throw up, but kind of like the starting a freshman, that can't be a good thing to have a 3rd offense in 3 years.
Especially not whenever they're so schematically and philosophically different.
All 3, or do you think the new one's going to be more similar to the one 2 years ago?
I think the new one is going to be a little bit more balanced from everything we've heard.
Okay.
But it's not going to be double tight, 3 back, hand the ball off every time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know that hurts your heart.
It does.
But to defend your stance on offensive football, it worked well for Ponder.
Yeah. They 5 points.
Yeah.
And that was I think we hung 71 on them the year before.
71-0.
And then the next year we beat them by 5. We do have their defensive coordinator wearing orange and black, though.
We do, and that's Coach Eichenberger, and he is a fantastic addition to the staff. And he's such a good guy. He's such a good presence for our kids, and he's knowledgeable. He's everything you'd want in a coach. So it's awesome to have him. But I have no idea what to expect from the new staff over there. All we hear is rumors. But I do know they have a big old offensive line coming back. Terrence Clark and can't think of the quarterback's name off the top of my head. It'll come to me here in a minute. But the quarterback, and then Terrence Clark was the running back. They both graduated. The quarterback was a 4-year starter. Terrence Clark was by far their GoDaddy back that they didn't give the ball to enough. With them gone, new people are going to have to step up. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from them. Because in some games they were right on the cusp of doing great things, like against us. But when you change the offense back away to where it's not grinding the clock, it's going to change things.
Yeah, I agree. I liked where they were last year better.
Now, our last district opponent to talk about is going to be the Whitesboro Bearcats, led by Cody Fagan, who I'm a big fan of. I enjoy Coach Fagan. He's a quality dude.
I see y'all talking to each other back and forth on Twitter.
Yes, we get along, and he's a good dude. And if you follow their Twitter, you will see that I really feel like they have something special kind of brewing up there.
They're trying to build a culture, or really to hold on to a culture. I don't want to take anything away from Coach Gill. He built it.
Yeah,
but
he transformed Whitesboro into a job that you would actually want.
Yeah.
And then I think Coach Fagan is doing an excellent job of maintaining that as well as advancing that.
It's kind of like your favorite relay, the mile relay. The baton was handed off, and he's doing a great job.
He is. Yeah. And, I just...
A little too good for my taste.
Yeah. But they had our number last year.
Yeah.
But, if you look at what's going on, their summer weight program's rocking and rolling. The kids are getting after it. There's a ton of kids out there. I really think there's some momentum building in Whitesboro, and I think they're going to be a problem.
Yeah.
I think they're the dark horse. If somebody told me right now, hey, I'm going to put $1,000 on Whitesboro winning district, I'd be like, this guy, he knows. Because it's not out of...
We have to go play up there, too.
Yes.
Weird things happen in Bearcat Stadium.
Including... If you're losing at halftime, you might get some one-on-one tackling drills in the middle of the discus ring.
It was 2 years ago. It was awesome. I remember asking, here Greg makes his second appearance today. Like, what's all the whistling and noise back there? He's like, Coach Davis got him doing hitting drills.
Yeah, and it worked.
It did.
Javon came out and ran like a man possessed in the second half.
Did.
And the offensive line did great second half, and we played really good defense. But, they're gonna be a tough out. They have great kids and really athletic kids and kids that are putting the work in, and that's scary to go with a good coaching staff and good schemes. And so, I don't know. Of all the games, I think that's the one that worries me the most.
You dig deeper into all this than I do. I'm just here to add a tad of humor. The quarterback's coming back, right? He's a big guy.
Mac Harper, superintendent's kid.
Yeah.
He's good. He's real good.
Yeah.
And then they have a big target on the outside. What's his name? It's Hermes, Jake Hermes. And he's 6'5", 6'6", athletic. He's a problem.
Yeah.
But we have a big corner, so that helps.
Yeah.
Because, I love Aston.
He's not the big corner you're talking about.
But he's not 6'6" or anywhere close.
Yeah.
And so, that helps. But they're gonna be a problem. I'll call it right now. If there was a dark horse that I was gonna put money on,
I don't think you're really stepping out there with the prediction since they handed it to us last year to say they're going to be a problem next year.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's an awful big branch that I'm walking out on to say that.
Yeah.
And they'll be a year better. We'll be a year better for sure. Now, that brings us back around to us. So I'm going to let you take the reins here, talking about us, and what do you want to know?
Well, before I get into, I wanted to go kind of by position groups and just kind of get your thoughts. But before we did that, you want to give a brief overview, or you just want me to dive right into it?
I'll read Dave Campbell's to everyone.
Read Dave to the class.
It'll be like bedtime stories.
Okay, I'll stay awake.
Thank you. All right, so coaches Danny David, we're going to have 5 returning starters on offense, 6 on defense. Went 10-4 regional finals last year, 5-2 in district with losses to Brock and Whitesboro. Players to watch: Ish Harris, Aiden Cox, Aston Kirby, Joel Gainsar, Alex Puga, Aaron Stripmatter, and Dakota David. Notes: running back, defense back Harris had 1,788 yards, 18 touchdowns rushing, 44 tackles, 5 interceptions, generates FBS buzz, obviously with his signing by A&M. Cox, 535 yards receiving, 7 touchdowns, 51 tackles, 8 sacks, is extremely versatile. They left off that he is probably an all-state punter. And then kicker Gainsar has good range. So that's what Dave Campbell's believes about us.
All right. Have a Frito.
I'm about to. I'm starving.
We're going to listen to you crunch it?
No, I will move my mic while I crunch on a Frito.
Okay. All right, so what I want to do is just go over the position groups and just get, I know you're going to give me coach speak. You're not going to sell me anything. Probably not going to give me a whole lot of useful information, but let's try. We let you swallow first?
I'm good.
Okay. I want to start with QB. We lost a good one. So,
we've had a quarterback. We've had a great 4-year run.
Yeah.
With 3 years of Pitts and then 1 year of Max.
Yeah.
Whenever we thought to ourselves as coaches, how in the world are we ever going to replace Jacob Pitts? Max gave us everything.
Yeah.
He ended up being awesome. He really excelled as a runner. He developed as a passer. His best game passing was the last game of the season. He kept getting better and better. And that was with him missing two games?
I think he missed 3.
Yeah.
I think he missed Bowie, Whitesboro, Paradise.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep bringing this up as we go down, at least the offense. I might do it on the defense too. But our next after Max, as far as returners statistically, would be Dakota, who had 34 completions for 509 yards.
Right. Replacing Max, it's not going to happen. We don't have anybody in the program that can do what Max did. Mainly because we don't have anybody in the program as fast as Max was. So we're automatically not going to replace Max Holler. Now, that position battle is going to produce a quality starter because we have a good battle.
So there is a battle going on then. Mm-hmm. There's no name starter at this point, and that's to be determined, as Coach Speak would say.
Yeah, we
ain't even put pads on yet.
Yeah, we haven't played a game yet.
Yeah.
Hadn't even put pads on yet. Hadn't had a practice. And, I don't know who the starter's going to be, but I know whoever the starter is a good starter.
Okay.
And so, will they be Max? No, they won't be Max, but they will have their own set of tools that they will be successful with. So, quarterback, it'll be interesting.
All right, moving on to running backs. I'm not concerned one bit on the top end.
Yeah, we got a horse.
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely looking good there. We're top heavy though. The following him, and I'm just going with returning starters, it drops off quite a bit based on last year's statistics, and we're on paper it's Curly Brockman.
Yeah, and of course we know Ish is a known commodity. We're fortunate to have Ish in the backfield. Curly, while he is John Little's favorite player,
it's 62 yards last year versus Ish's 1,788.
Yeah, John Little will be ecstatic that Curly will get more carries this year. Is in line too.
Yeah.
And Curly will do fine. Curly's put in great work. He's been very present. He's worked hard. He is fine as a backup.
Yeah, and I told you before, those of you that have been watching Pilot Point for a long time, Shane Blagg was a great running back for Pilot Point, and he was actually smaller than Curly is.
Yeah, and with what we do, size doesn't matter.
Okay.
Nice giggle. I'm
trying to remain professional here. No,
okay, no, but it doesn't. Just with the scheme that we have, we don't have to have a big burly running back that's going to have to bowl over a bunch of people. That's not the only thing that we do. It helps, but a little quick, shifty guy can make things happen, and so that's why Curly fits. And we're excited about that for sure.
Moving on, the offensive line, we did lose 60% of it.
We did, but the 40% that we're returning, I really like. Aaron Stripmatter and Dak Morgan, great kids. You couldn't ask for two better kids, and they're going to give us everything they got. And we're just in a spot where somebody's going to have to step up. And whenever you have kids that like we do, that I'm biased, but I think we have the best kids in the state of Texas, that we're going to find three guys that are going to get after it. And I think we're in a position to where we're going to be okay. I don't know who there are because I'm not down there on that end of the field during practice. So I have no idea what five it's going to be, but I trust the offensive line guys that they're going to put five guys out there. They're going to get the job done.
So you talked me off the ledge on that one then.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
We lost our top receiver. We do have Aiden coming back. He had 26 receptions and 535 yards.
Aiden's about as good as you're going to get at our level, and I think he'd be great at any level. He's a fantastic wide receiver, and he was banged up for stretches last year, but gosh, he's extremely versatile. Losing Avery hurts, but I think Aston being 1 year better with the opportunities that he's going to get, I think he'll really do well. I think he's a kid that if you look at who's going to see a jump in production from last year to this year, I think it's Aiden and Aston. Those two guys are gonna see their numbers really go up and really kind of explode. I just think that both of them have had good off seasons. Aston, of course, got on everybody's radar with track, running that back stretch, and then Aiden ran a fantastic anchor leg. So,
it's funny you bring up the track thing. When we were playing 7-on-7 in Gunner, I noticed that when Aston was out there, they didn't know his name, but they kept calling him that's the sprint relay guy. That was his name. Is what Gunner when they would point at him.
And he
that's the second leg. That's what they were calling.
Yeah, that's the second leg. And he, I don't want to say shocked, but kinda. It was like, wow, you can run like that. You can flip a switch and go to high energy. It was impressive.
Yeah.
And you do something besides Beavis and Butthead giggle and say, all right.
Yeah.
So, I think it's exciting. We're going to be depth is a problem at receiver right now, but I think we're going to be fine. I really like my new coaching buddy there at receivers with Coach Lane retiring. I like Coach Stone. I think he's going to add a lot to what we do. I think he's good for us. I've already learned a ton from him, and the kids have learned a ton from him. And I think we'll do a good job with the receivers, and we're going to be fine.
All right, I'm going to lump ends and defensive line all in the same. As far as that group, what are we looking at? What are your thoughts?
Almost everybody's back. We lose. Really, the guy that we lost off the defensive line just with a whole lot of snaps is Troy Tincher. But with Troy being gone, that makes way for Puga. And if you watch,
he sure showed up.
Yeah, in the playoffs
when the weather got cold.
Yeah, all of a sudden the JV season's over and we have to put him on varsity, and then he starts logging 80% of the defensive snaps because he's just all over the place.
Yeah,
he's going to be fine. I really like what we're doing. I think that they're going to be really good as long as they're coachable and they just do their job. And they do. They get after it.
Yeah, Puga had 11 tackles 6 solo, 5 assists.
Yeah, not bad.
Averaged 2.8 and had a sack, and he got hurt in the last game, so he only played. That's 3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got hurt early in the last game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Good. All right, cornerback. We lost Avery. You gonna say his nickname, or you want me to?
Yeah, we lost the no-fly zone.
Exactly.
at free safety.
Yes.
With both of our corners coming back, that's a huge positive because that's, Ish has a ton of game experience. Aston has 14 games, and he has, about 6 really bad games of game experience, and then he kind of started
6 games of what not to do.
Yeah, and then he finally kind of figured it out. Ended up as a second-team All-District defensive back.
Yeah.
And so I feel good there. And I think we, it's like receiver. We have a depth problem, but I think we have the kids there that once we get them all figured out and how are we going to replace Avery at free safety, I think we're okay. We better be, because right out of the bat we face 2 Power 5 receivers.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I think Plainview, he's 36th best recruit period in the state of Oklahoma, and I think
Pearson
he's
Morgan,
the 8th best receiver.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
And then Chris Palfreeman from All Saints is a Power 5 guy.
Yeah.
So
2 pregame shows to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Coming up. And then I'm going to close out with special teams, which I think is
we left out linebackers.
Oh, we did.
Now,
yeah, I have it scratched out for some reason.
I guess we just didn't want to talk about them.
We lost 2.
Lost 2 good ones
Yeah.
with Tristan and Jay. And Dorian, which
Yeah.
we don't count Dorian as a loss because we lost him in the season, so
Yeah.
you don't think about him. But he was going to be the starting Mike linebacker until he wasn't. But that's going to be tough. If there's anything that concerns me, it's replacing those 3 guys. But I think we have the kids that can do it. I think there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but I think once they get settled in, we're going to be in real good shape.
Not to give too much away, but the kids can do it from where? Are these kids that were there last year that were at other positions, or are these kids from JV?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank
So,
you for that insight, Coach.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay. Now to special teams. I was so excited to get there because that's our strongest group coming back.
It is.
I mean, we got a great punter and a great kicker, and we got the holder back. I mean, everybody's back.
Well, not everybody. We lost a incredible caliber deep snapper in Colin Haynes.
Oh yeah, I keep leaving that out.
You do.
That's really where it all starts.
Yes, it's actually the most important piece of the puzzle.
With the punter and the kicker.
But his replacement is in-house.
Good.
And our JV deep snapper was awesome.
Oh, so you're willing to pull the curtain back on that one?
Kirsten James, he's the
Okay.
man.
Wow.
Affectionately known as Sunshine. Sunshine can deep snap, and he does a fantastic job, and everything else is already in place. Aiden is one of the best high school punters that you'll see. He averaged over 42 yards a punt on over 40 punts. So
why doesn't he get more attention on that?
Because
other than the post signal this week, shout out to Joe.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Is that on us? Is that Bearcat Media's fault?
I send the stats out, and I always include his punting statistics.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm going to do this year is I'm going to post videos of him punting in pregame and at practice where he's just booting the snot out of the ball. I'm going to start putting him out there. Because you look at the kid and he's 6'3", 195 pounds, athletic, and the first thing you think is not punter.
Yeah. Now, some may disagree with me.
Okay.
If you're going to go to college, and I'm sorry, I don't ever assume going to college means you're going to be a pro. I assume you're going to play in college to get a free education to do something else.
Of course.
Third string quarterback is the best position.
Your clipboard.
Yes, and you don't have to worry about injury
No.
throughout your whole life. But if you're going to be on the field, punter's not a bad gig.
I think Aiden would disagree. I think Aiden would want the ball.
Yeah, because he's an animal.
Yeah, that's Chance's.
Exactly.
We're looking
It's
at
my
this
mentality.
we're looking at this through your lens of, well, if they touch me, it's a 15-yard penalty, so they can't possibly come touch me.
But he would be an asset from a recruiting standpoint because you have 11 men trying to make the tackle with him on the field punting.
Well, and he can throw, and
Yeah.
he can run, and he can break tackles.
Yeah.
I mean, your fake game just went nuts. You have the whole playbook.
Yeah.
But I don't know why he didn't get more recognition. But we're going to work on that.
I'll put that on our goals list.
Yes, and then kicker Joel Gainsar, he does a fantastic job. He really is a good kicker. So we're in good hands.
Yeah.
And we have good young kickers coming. We have.
I remember last year in the pregame at the Buckaroo Stadium. We're going to find a stadium eventually that's not named after
a mascot.
But hey, as rare as a Buckaroo is,
yeah,
I don't
it's
have as much of a problem. But both our kickers were just booting like 45, 50-yard field goals in pregame.
And it was a freshman and a sophomore.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, it's good. We're in good hands.
Y'all got the kicking game in line.
Yeah, thanks, Coach Lane.
But that's all. I just wanted to run down the positions. I'll turn it back over to you. You can have the show back now. You can have the reins. Here they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little Dallas Morning News.
Okay.
We've been getting a lot of love from them lately.
Yeah.
A lot of Twitter love from @SportsDay DFW.
Past 2 days.
Has featured us past 2 games or 2 days.
I don't like how they posted at midnight, but
but what else?
I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm not
posting at midnight's better than no posting.
He gave me a retweet at 5:30 a.m.
Yeah.
to do, so that's good. But no, it's really nice to see a big, newspaper really noticing our kids and putting Aiden out there and putting Ish out there as returning statistical leaders. And so shout out to them.
Yeah. Thank you, Dallas Morning News. Hey, everybody, it's Chance. If you're saying to yourself, wow, that podcast really ended awkwardly, you would be correct, because no better way to start off Season 2, Episode 1 than a technical meltdown. Fortunately for you, all you missed was Travis talking about his new favorite 6-man team, which I'm certain we can get him to tell us all about that in the next podcast. I do want you guys to please subscribe to all of our social media. Facebook is @Pilot Point Bearcat Blog. Twitter @PP Bearcat Blog, Instagram @Pilot Point Bearcats Blog, and our YouTube channel is Pilot Point Bearcats. And if you will subscribe to that, that's where you're going to get the notifications when we go live with the games on Friday night. I want to thank all of you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week. Go Bearcats.
Ho, ho, ho.